Good morning, fathers of daughters. This is Ephraim B. Martin. I am 58 years of age, and I am a girl dad. Welcome to another live stream, fathers of daughters. Regardless of your ethnic group or your background, all fathers are welcome, and I appreciate you. Fathers, what we're going to be discussing today is allowing our daughters to date before the age of 16 years of age and how it will wreck our homes. Okay? I this is one topic that I think most fathers need to hear and need to understand exactly what we need to be doing regarding our baby girls prior to them being 16 years of age when it's regarding little boys and dating. One of the things I learned, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my experience not only as a father of four adult daughters, raising four adult girls, but I'm going to use my background of working in the criminal justice system and K-12 education to explain why it's very dangerous for any father to allow their daughters to date and have a boyfriend before the age of 16. Even at the age of 16, you're going to have uh, problems. You could potentially have a lot of serious problems with them being 16. But under the age of 16, fathers of daughters, we are dealing with a whole different beast, a whole different level of situations. And pretty much, if we allow our daughters to have a boyfriend before the age of 16, we have given them a pass to run our house. And that's what it comes down to. My experience and what I experienced as a state juvenile probation officers in dealing and supervising young girls that were runaways who had boyfriends before the age of 16. There were a lot of problems with that because most little girls that I supervised on probation had boyfriends under the age of 16. There was a lot of domestic violence that was involved. There was a lot of teen violence that was involved with these girls. And most of the young ladies I supervised, they didn't have their fathers in their lives. So when you're dealing with not having your father in your life and you're being raised, particularly just by your mother, most little girls are going to, at some point in the relationship with their moms, are going to battle with them. It's part of their DNA. And when you don't have that supervision of your father, and if you were raised without your father, most little girls run with it, whether they're involved in the criminal justice system or not. Most young ladies are going to run with that. Most little girls are going to run with it. And they're going to use that against their mothers to get their way. I saw it in the criminal justice system, and I saw it in K-12 education. I'm going to be giving you examples, hard-hit examples of exactly what I dealt with as a former dean of students working in middle and high school, and what the dynamics of relationships with little girls that were in middle school and high school, what those look like, and what happened to some of these little girls that I was dealing with in K-12 education. Now, there are different cultures that allow different things to take place in their homes. And I'm not here to tell any culture what to do and how to do it. But what I do know as a father of girls, if we allow, whether it's culture or not, if we allow our daughters to have a boyfriend, you can definitely expect your entire house to be destroyed. Because what ends up happening is when you allow little boys in our daughters' lives and they're going through puberty and having their emotional highs and emotional lows, that is a recipe for disaster. Because what's going to happen is that little boy's going to come into your daughter's life and he's going to control her. He's going to control her mind and he's going to dictate to her her movement and what she needs to be doing and what she doesn't need to be doing. More than likely, that little boy is going to come into her life and isolate her away from her family. And she's going to be codependent on that little boy for all of her answers, for everything, to think for her. When I was a probation officer, state juvenile probation officer, I saw that all the time. So, fathers, we're dealing with a situation that we shouldn't even allow or test in our homes. Because if you allow your daughters to get their way at 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age with having little boys come into their life, you're in trouble, right? It's not going to be a good situation, even when our daughters are 16 years of age. 16 to 18, they're closer to graduation from high school. So there's only a 2-year gap between 16 and 18. But 10, 11, 12, there is absolutely no reason for no little boys to be rolling up on our daughters, touching our daughters, kissing our daughters, holding our daughters. And shame on you, fathers, if you allow it. Because what you're inviting into your home is going to be very, very difficult to get out your home. So I have some videos that I want to share. And I'm also going to give you some examples of what I dealt with when I was a dean of students, in Denver Public Schools. I was a dean of students at Montbello Senior High School, the Montbello campus, from 2009 to 2014. And experienced quite a bit when it came to adolescent girls and their behaviors and just their victimization from boys. And just what little girls allow when they don't have fathers in their lives or uncles or, boy cousins to protect them. A lot of things can happen to our daughters' fathers. So, we just have to make sure that we are crystal clear on not allowing our daughters to date. I'm against it. When I was at Montbello High School, Montbello High School ended up closing its doors in 2014. And then there were 3 other schools that were on that campus at the time. But back in 2010, when it was announced Montbello was going to close its high school, there was another school called Denver International Studies. And that school was a 6th through 12th grade. I am not a fan of 6th through 12th grade, 6th through 12th. I'm not a fan of it because what ends up happening is you have 6th grade girls that have access to high school little boys. And that can go a whole different direction. And when I was on the campus at that time, there were several little girls that were taken advantage of, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, by upperclassmen, 11 and 12th graders. So I'm not a fan of 6 through 12. I know there are a lot of schools that do 6 through 12. I'm not a fan of it because I know what could happen to younger girls. So I have some videos here that I would like to share, fathers, to give you a better understanding of teen violence and what can happen to our daughters if we allow them to date before the age of 16. Okay. So here's the first video that I'd like to share.
The birds and the bees. So, mom and dad, listen close. Now may be the time to talk to your teens about dating. We know that can be rough. So, in tonight's Family Focus, Tim Miller shares some insight into how to tackle that talk.
For parents, it's a day you saw coming, but you were probably hoping it wouldn't come so quickly. It's the time when hormones begin raging, romantic feelings develop, and your son or daughter starts dating.
It's important to remember that teens mature at different rates. So I think it is important to talk with them before you get to the point where they want to start dating.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Amy Drescher says it's important to talk to your teens about not only dating in general to promote healthy relationships, but about dating violence. So the question you may have is, when do you begin?
I think a good time is when they start to bring it up, or when you start to notice that their friends are dating, or they are starting to ask questions about it.
Of course, acknowledging that some of these conversations will be extremely difficult and uncomfortable for your kids is a key part. But you'll want to talk realistically about sex and explain the differences between lust, infatuation, and love.
Sitting down and kind of lecturing them isn't always the best way. I think empowering them by asking questions is a really powerful way to talk about boundaries and what they're comfortable with.
As a parent, you'll need to set some expectations, set boundaries, and have an honest conversation about consent.
I do think that that's really powerful, where if parents can share their experience and then, talk about how things have changed and help kids understand why there are those concerns, and then empower them to, make positive and good decisions.
Dr. Drescher also suggests that as you talk about dating, you'll also want to keep their close friends in mind too.
Maybe their friends are not in the same place, or maybe their friends' families may view things differently. Different families are going to, are going to feel differently about dating, and culture and religion do really factor into that.
The experts say it's a challenging time for all, for the kids and for their parents. For Family Focus, I'm Tim Miller.
Oh, one other thing, if you have a good relationship with the parents of your kids' friends, experts say it's a good idea to let them know you've been discussing dating and get on the same page with them if possible. Spring brings.
Okay, fathers. So, once again, all households are going to be different. And I'm not here to tell any father what to do with their daughters. What I am here is to provide you information from my professional experience of working in the criminal justice system for 20 years and K-12 education for 10 years. So I just, when you're talking about a 12-year-old little girl, she's going through puberty. And to think that our daughters would be able to make a sound decision at 12 or 13 years old with little boys is just crazy. They're not going to be able to make good judgment decisions because we have to remember we were once little boys. And we have to remember exactly what we were doing at 12 and 13 years of age. We were lying. We were only interested in having sex with these little girls. And we wanted to conquer them and their friends. So we have to understand the mindset of little boys because we were once little boys. So we cannot expect that little boys are any different than what we were when we were their age. They're teenagers. Little boys are developing and they're going through puberty as well. A lot of things that I saw in the criminal justice system regarding these little girls, when it came to teen violence and just when it came to being in a domestic situation where they were being not only verbally abused, emotionally abused, but physically abused. You can't expect a 12 or 13-year-old little girl to get herself out of that. That's just not going to happen. If her father's in her life, that's a totally different situation because her father's going to be able to provide her protection and safety, right? So I'm just 100% against dating for our daughters that are under 16 years of age. I didn't let any of my daughters date until 16. And then two of my four daughters two of them had boyfriends at 16 and two didn't, you know. And the one thing I made very perfectly clear with my daughters when I was raising them is I explained to my daughters that, you know, why they were not going to be allowed to date little boys and what that looks like. And I also explained to my daughters too that if you do decide to have a boyfriend at 16 years of age, I am counting on you keeping me out of jail. Because if these little boys that you're dating, I'm going to meet them and I'm going to have a discussion with them. If they decide to ever put their hands on you or do anything to you emotionally, and I'm aware of it, I'm coming for them. I'm very crystal clear on that. Okay. I would never allow my daughters to be in a domestic situation. I will handle it. There's absolutely no way. Law enforcement, I'm not going to need their involvement because their father's going to handle it. That's how I handled my situation with my daughters. I didn't scare my daughters, but they understood and they knew. And they told these little boys, hey, my dad's crazy. I'm not to be toyed with and I'm not to be messed with. So if you don't want to meet him on the other side, you best be on your best behavior all the time. And you treat me with respect. And you never do anything to where I have to let him know to get involved. Because if he gets involved, he's going to handle it. So, fathers, we just have to be very aware of what our daughters are doing in their decision making. And like I said, culturally, there's going to be differences. I'm going to show another video, and then I'm going to explain a situation that I was involved in at Montbello High School in 2013 with a 8th grade little girl. There were several that happened on campus, and I'm just going to give you examples of what I had to deal with when I was a dean of students in middle and high school. So let me get this next video set up for y'all. Give me a second. This next video is called Teen Dating Violence Student Film Director Armani Jordan. This is a very good video that was put together by some young people, and it talks about, it's fictional, but it discusses how friends should react when it comes to if they have a friend that's in a situation with her boyfriend that's a domestic situation. So teen violence is real, and fathers, it's not to be toyed with ever, because our little girls can get hurt very, very bad, and end up wanting to take their lives, committing suicide, not wanting to be here. That's the reality of it.
Teen dating violence is a serious issue. 1 in 3 teenagers reports acts of violence committed within their own relationship. This is a story about how a group of friends in high school prevent teen dating violence within their own community. Enjoy.
Hello? Hey. Oh, just sitting around. The old hangout. I have to call you back.
Who is that?
Hey, Jason.
Who were you on the phone with?
I was. Do you think I can go out?
Not going nowhere. Sit down and pick that up.
No.
What?
No, it's all gonna get
Son,
here.
it's one slice of pizza. They'll be all right.
Shush. Look who finally decided to show up.
Hey,
Hey girl, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Good. That's good. What's up, Jerry? Hi, how are you?
Took y'all long enough.
We had to run an errand for him.
Had to go drop off my brother.
It's all right. We're not gonna start eating without you, especially.
Yeah. Now that everybody's here, let's get to the more important fact.
We're still missing person.
Who are we missing? You are one person less than usual.
See?
Oh, yeah. Erica.
Where is Erica? I called her and asked if she wanted to come, but she hung up on me, and I haven't really seen her much since she started hanging out with that dude Jason. Oh, you mean the woman beater? Yeah.
They go well with each other.
No, they don't. His fist goes well with her face.
That's a rumor. Plus, it's none of our business what goes on behind closed doors.
Will it be your business when she gets pushed through a closed door?
Have you actually seen Jason hit Erica?
Yes. I thought about filing a police report.
That's a little much.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to the principal and the guidance counselor or something.
Jesus Christ, we should just stay out of their business. Really, it's always likely to do something like that. Besides, if she didn't like it, she wouldn't be with him in the first place.
I second that.
Dre, she's scared to leave him.
Speaking of the devil, Erica.
Hey guys. Erica, where have you been? Oh, I've just I've been busy, yeah. Very busy. Well, we're having a party in my place. Do you want to come? No, Erica, you have to come. We miss you. Yeah. I miss you guys too, but I can't.
Why you got those shades on, Erica?
Erica. It's not that bad, honestly. I just it was my fault. I was being too smart, and Jason he just had to teach me a lesson. It was my fault. It's okay. It was my fault. That is not okay. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be here.
Where are you going? You sound like you're on house arrest.
Matter of fact, she is on house arrest.
Jason,
What are you doing in here?
wait, have some
Jason.
pizza with us.
What are you doing in here? Did I tell you that you could leave the house?
Jason,
Did I tell you that you could leave the
I
house?
was just
Nah, you ain't just nothing.
Jason!
Move this way. Come on. Right now.
Jason. Are you guys doing something?
Sounds like
I
a
have
personal
nothing to do
problem.
with that.
Wow.
Come
Jason,
on. Nah,
Jason,
shut
just calm
up.
down,
No,
Jason.
be quiet. Come on. You pull away from me like that again, I swear I will mess you up.
You are not gonna do anything to her.
You need to stand back and mind your business.
No, don't touch her.
What you not about to do is talk to my sister like that.
You beat her. You didn't believe me. You see that? And you need to get out of here before I call the police. And if you ever put your hands on her again, I swear you will never see daylight again. Get out of here. You made him leave. He needs to leave, Erica. But I love him. I'm all alone now. Erica, he doesn't love you. If he loved you, he would beat on you. Dre doesn't beat on me. That's because he doesn't love you. Erica, you're so brainwashed. Come here. You don't need him, okay? I do. You don't, Erica. It's gonna be okay. What am I gonna do? You're gonna be okay. Okay. And we are the Fairmont Heights High School Drama Department. Thank you for watching.
Okay, fathers. Now, even though that was a PSA and dramatization of teen dating, those are the facts, right? So let me give you an example of a situation. I'm gonna give you an example of a couple of situations that happened when I was the dean of students at Montbello High School. So 2013, I had moved over to Denver International Studies as their dean. So I transitioned from Montbello High School over to Denver International Studies. And I became the dean of students over there from 2012 to 2014. So I had at that time seventh graders, and then 9, 10, and 11th graders at that time. So there was a situation that was brought to me regarding a young lady who was an 8th grade girl. She had a mild cognitive disability. So having that mild cognitive disability exposed her to not making exactly the best decisions when it came to her protection and safety and her judgment. And there were a lot of little boys that knew that she had that mild cognitive disability. So they took advantage of her. Okay. And she ended up getting in a situation to where a video had surfaced, and this young lady ended up having oral sex with several boys in one of the on grounds on campus in one of the baseball dugouts. So it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So, me being a former dean of students, or sorry, former probation officer, I have a duty to report. So the very first thing I did was make sure I contacted the social worker, the school psychologist, the nurse, the assistant principal of instruction, and the principal, as well as our law enforcement officer that was at the school at the time. So sent all of them an email, and then I met with them individually to show them this video that had surfaced. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And she was not the only young lady that happened to on campus. There were several young girls that had been taken advantage of by older boys. And this is the 6 through 12 school, Denver International Studies, Denver Center for International Studies, where I was the dean of students at the time. So I know what I'm talking about, fathers. This is not to be played with or toyed with. And the issue that we're going to have is if we allow our daughters to date before the age of 16, like I said, you're giving them a pass. And if you don't think that our daughters are going to run with that, you're sadly mistaken. They're going to. And they're going to put themselves in a situation where they can't protect themselves, or they will always be safe, because these little boys are going to control their minds, and they're going to control them emotionally. And a lot of little boys will control them physically. So we have to keep that in mind when we're dealing with our daughters' protection and safety. And we have to understand that not all these little boys have fathers, just like not all these little girls have fathers. And then when you bring them two together without parental guidance, you have situations that escalate, and they escalate quickly. In other situations, when I was the dean of students, I had young girls coming to me telling me all the time that their boyfriends were hurting them or threatened to hurt them, right? So you got to get the parents involved. For the young ladies that didn't have fathers, it was just a mess. It was really, really a mess. For those young ladies that did have fathers, those fathers handled it quickly and swiftly. And they made sure that their daughters, after that, allowing them to date early, they no longer have boyfriends. But like I said, you're risking, if you allow your daughters to date before 16, what you're risking in your household for it to be destroyed it just isn't worth it. Because if these young girls end up in the criminal justice system with these boyfriends, there's a good chance they're going to end up running away from home and hooking up with these little boys and being with these little boys. And that is a disaster as well. You don't want to have your daughters running away from home and being involved in the criminal justice system. That becomes a whole different situation in itself, fathers. Okay, so I want to show this next video. And, fathers, we just have to be consistent when it comes to not allowing our daughters do whatever they want in our household. Because if we don't do that, it's our fault for who they end up with. And it's going to be our fault for what happens to them. You cannot expect a 13-year-old child to make the right decisions. Little girls are going to do what they feel is best for them, what makes them feel good. Their self-esteem. That's involved. And, fathers, we can't turn our daughters over to the world. We just can't do it. If we are not providing them protection and safety, where's it going to come from? And I'm real with that because I saw a lot of bad things in the criminal justice system. And then I saw a lot of bad things in K-12 education with little girls who don't have fathers. So many of them are taken advantage of because they don't have a male to protect them. Not only do a lot of these little girls not have fathers, a lot of them don't even have uncles that will protect them and step in, or brothers, or, first male cousins. So many of them are out there by themselves, feeding for themselves, fending for themselves. And they become victims continuously. Okay. So this next video I want to share, it's going to give you a little bit statistics on teen violence and the victimization of teen violence.
Teen dating violence is happening right here in East Tennessee. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 3 teenagers has experienced some form of dating violence, and nearly 1 in every 8 high school girls has experienced sexual dating violence. At just 16 years old, Knoxville native Emily Ann Buck experienced both. 10 News reporter Caitlin Keenahan spoke with her about how we can end it.
At 16 years old, love feels real.
He was perfect. He was charming and handsome.
For Emily Ann Buck, it happened fast.
So quickly that he said he loved me within the first 2 weeks.
She didn't see the red flags of an abusive relationship.
It's so subtle as it grows that you don't see what's happening.
Until she was living them.
I saw the tracking, the calling on the phone, and constantly wanting to know where I was and who I was with.
Then the abuse turned sexual.
For me, it was physical photos that were passed around.
This all happened while they were in high school.
I was suicidal twice. And sometimes I share that and sometimes I don't.
This isn't an isolated case. 1 in 5 girls are emotionally abused in a dating relationship in high school, and a quarter of them will send a nude photo before they turn 18.
I hurt for these teenage girls that think that somebody cares so much for them that they want to see their naked body. And that is twisted.
But to end it, Dr. David Kitts with the Knoxville Police Department says you have to be able to identify it.
You're in an abusive situation, and when the person is extremely jealous, when they're controlling, and they want to isolate you from family and friends.
Educate.
Every opportunity we can, we've got to portray what a healthy relationship looks like.
And listen.
Do not talk. Accept what they're telling you. Do not judge them. Listen to them and ask how you can help.
In Knoxville, I'm Caitlin Keenahan.
Teens who experience dating violence are more likely to suffer from trauma, depression, and anxiety later in life. The CDC also says it increases their risk for domestic abuse in the future. Teen dating violence is happening right.
So, fathers, one of the things when I have discussions with other fathers of daughters, when I do these men's groups, and we're talking about teen dating, and I'm explaining to them professionally my background, where I came from, and my experience of working with young girls, 10 to 18 years of age. A lot of fathers don't understand how their daughters are able, if they're in a situation of physical violence, domestic violence from their boyfriends, is how they're able to smile. And what's interesting is when you look at any of the research, women suppress their feelings. It's a mechanism for them to suppress. And laughter for so many of these women is hiding their pain and their suffering that they're actually going through. And I know when I was a juvenile probation officer, and supervising these young girls that were out there that were runaways from home, they were runaways. 90% of the girls that I supervised were runaways. They were all using drugs. And the ones that didn't have boyfriends, they were subject to being prostituted and being taken advantage of by men who, predators come in all ages when it comes to men. You can have a predator 15 through 20. You can have a predator 60 through 90. Predators are predators. But one of the things that used to just chill me when I was supervising these runaway girls is the description that they gave of what happened to them. And I can tell you 10% of the girls that I supervised on probation have fathers that were a part of their lives. 10%. So that means another 90 did not. And it just, me having daughters, I had to take a totally different approach. And because what I was dealing with daily professionally and seeing what was happening to a lot of these baby girls, there was absolutely no way my daughters were going to be victimized. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I have had the experience of working with teen girls and teen boys in the criminal justice system, because it prepared me on what to look for with my very own daughters and how to handle different situations with my very own daughters. So it's the laughter that so many of these women and younger women are able to do is because they suppress their feelings. And you can look at any study regarding violence against women, and women suppress their feelings all the time for many reasons. And so as a father, those are things we have to be paying attention to. Mood changes and friend changes with our daughters. I've already discussed this in several videos. If our daughters are changing friends, we have to understand why they're changing friends. We have to have these discussions. And you have to watch their behavior. Because our daughters just don't wake up one day and start acting out. If they're going through something and we're not aware of what they're going through, fathers, it's gonna show its face, right? And when it does show its face, it could be too late because we haven't been paying attention. And it's critical, fathers, that we have these daily discussions with our daughters about their protection and safety. We have to do it. And for a lot of fathers, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary for their well-being and for their survival. Okay. So fathers, I have 2 more videos that I'd like to share with you, and they're both survivors of teen violence. So let me get it set up. First one. Let's see. This first one is called Teen Dating Abuse Survivor Story. Her name is Sydney. All videos that I use for instructional and informational purposes, fathers, are available on YouTube.
The point where
they're all fair use videos. I don't use anything. I don't alter videos. I don't do reaction videos. I don't do reaction videos in presenting information to fathers of daughters, grow dads, because what I'm giving to you and what I'm sharing with you is to help you understand, once again, our sense of urgency. And fathers, I encourage you fathers that are following me, because I'm going to eventually open up my YouTube channel and bring on guests and address comments and have discussions with regular fathers. Read my book, Daddy's Girls. It's available at Amazon.com. And I believe it's the blueprint for helping fathers understand our sense of urgency that we need to have with our baby girls. I cover the 3 stages of development, what I call them: birth to 10 years of age, 11 to 13, and 14 to 18. My book is it's an easy read. It's 34 pages long, very informative. I didn't use any statistics or data in my book. So, like I said, it's an easy read, and it will definitely make sense, and it's informative for all fathers, regardless of your background and your culture. Okay? All right, dads, let's get this next video going.
Craig, and this is my survivor story. When I was 16, I started dating this guy who was really outgoing, well-liked, very popular around the school. And he was really good to me in the beginning. He would, bring me flowers or, drop food off at my house just because he felt like it. It got to a point where if I tried to make plans with my friends first, he would say, why are you doing that? I want to hang out with you. You don't want to hang out with me? It's just because I love you. I want to spend all my time with you. And in the moment, it felt good to be loved. It was like, well, I love this guy too. So I do want to spend time with him. On the rare occasion where I would make plans, it started to be a really huge issue with him. He would get angry. He would really, give me a hard time. Why would you do this? I thought you wanted to hang out with me. I thought you wanted to be with me. He ended up deciding to turn down his dream school and where he wanted to go to follow me to mine. He started, tracking my location on my phone and looking at where I was all the time, logging into my social media. He did not want me to have any friends or go out. There were many times where I tried to break up with him, and it was always just, I'm so sorry, I'll change, I love you. Every time, I would try to leave, I would end up going back because he would convince me to, and then it would get worse. And then finally one night he followed me home. He was screaming at me in the street. Other people witnessed it, heard it, tried to help. And I was so embarrassed and just shocked that, I can't believe that, like, what is happening right now? What is happening to me? He followed me all the way back to my dorm, and, he threatened to kill himself if I didn't talk to him. He called me really nasty things that night. And I was scared. I was really scared. I was scared that he would, and I was scared for myself, because it had just gotten to a point where it was out of control. And the next morning, I filed a police report. It was really difficult for me to navigate trying to keep myself safe and stay away from him. But in the end, I'm really glad that I stuck it out and didn't, and stuck, I grew a lot as a person. What I experienced before, I'm sorry, it's just because I love you, that's not love. That's not love. Love is, letting someone be their own person and also supporting it too. You don't need to be scared to speak up. There are people out there that hear you, that will listen to you, and that can help you. And it does get better. It will get better. I made it out. I'm a survivor because enough is enough.
Okay, fathers. So if you listen to that video, right? What father in their right mind would want to invite these problems into his house? Help me understand that, fathers of daughters. 12, 13, 14-year-old baby girl. Why would you want to even entertain this in your household? It doesn't make any sense. This just doesn't make any sense. What this young lady is talking about, it makes my skin crawl, because we're seeing the manipulation of little boys. And we know how aggressive little boys are already. The isolation, the emotional isolation. Why are you with your family? Why won't you hang out with me? You know how little boys, so many of these little boys get down. They're, they make it an environment to where they try to make these little girls, our daughters, they try to make our daughters believe they're crazy and something's wrong with them. Little boys are great at doing that. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're crazy. I heard that so much when I was the dean of students. Well, Mr. Martin, she's crazy. There's two sides to every story. Yes, there's always two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. And the truth is going to come out, right? So I don't know why any father would want to entertain a little boy in his household, 12, 13, 14-year-old daughter. I don't know why any father would want to entertain it or to have to deal with it or end up putting himself in a situation to where he could lose his livelihood and his family because he allowed his daughter to date at 12 years old, 13, 14. It just doesn't make any sense, dads. And you have to really consider this culturally. I can't tell you what you do with your culture. That's your business. But what I am going to tell you professionally is what it looks like. And you don't have to agree with it. And you're going to do what you're going to do as a father. But do understand, whatever you allow in your household, you're 100% responsible for. Don't blame their mother. That's on you, dads. I just, my experience of working in the criminal justice system, there's absolutely no way. Everything that I saw and that I had to deal with these little girls, there's absolutely no way I would even entertain or invite this for my daughters to see. Absolutely not. Because I know what the end results will be. There's no win situation with our daughters. Having a boyfriend at 12, 13, 14 years old, there's no win. These little boys are, so many of them are smooth talkers, say the right things, lie. Why would you entertain it, fathers? I would challenge fathers. Go back to your own childhood. Think about your friends. I had a lot of friends. There's absolutely no way they should have been around little girls, but they were. So this teen violence is real, fathers. And if you allow it in your house, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with the repercussions of it, because your daughter is going to hold you hostage. If you allow them to date 12, 13, 14, you can best believe your daughter is going to hold you hostage, and they're going to make you pay for interfering in their life. And that's how they're going to look at it. It's going to be one-sided with them. They're going to go with their boyfriend and listen to their boyfriend before they listen to their dad and their uncles and their brothers, because we allowed it in our house. So that's the reality, Dad. Don't entertain it. Don't bring it in your house. Because if you do, what are you going to do about it when it happens? Those are the questions that you should be asking yourself. I've got one more video that I want to share, fathers. Okay? Let's see. This one is called Teen Dating Violence. This is another great video. And fathers, feel free to do your own research. Feel free to do your own research, fathers. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure this is the video that I want. Give me a second, fathers. I got to look it up on. Nope, that's not the one I want. Give me a second here, fathers. Let's see here. Okay. Give me a second here, fathers. I'm looking for the video that, oh, there it is. Okay. That is the one that I'm looking for.
Her nature.
That is the one that I need. So yeah, dads, this is not to be toyed with under any circumstances at all. We have to handle this in our own home, because if we don't, our daughters are going to pay, and they could eventually pay with their lives. That's how real this teen violence can get. We don't know where these little boys are coming from. We don't know what families are coming from. And once our little girls get involved with these little boys, it's almost impossible for us to get in between them, because that's how little girls roll. They're going to be emotionally tied up in these little boys, and they're going to think that these little boys can do no wrong. That's just what they're going to do, fathers. So we got to really, really think about this thing and make the right decision. Okay, here's the video I was looking for, fathers.
I was young. It's not really something that's talked about or it's common. I didn't know. I wish that it was more known. I wish more people spoke up about it to where I knew more about it, knew what to avoid, what to look for. I just remember waking up in a hospital and my parents were just so upset, and that's like the worst feeling, is causing the people you love to be so upset. And it's
hard.
There's a very, very good chance you're going to know somebody in an abusive relationship at some point in your life. And this is why we present to anybody and everybody. My name is Bobby Sudbury. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Katie's Way, and more importantly, I'm Katie's mom. Teen dating violence is basically two kids dating that the relationship is abusive. There's abuse going on in the relationship, whether it be verbal, emotional, psychological, or physical. There's a lot of dismissiveness of teen dating violence because I have seen it, I've heard it, where people look at it, oh, it's just a couple kids having an issue, it'll blow over, not a big deal, it's just two teens, what could happen? In our life, we saw the worst possible thing happen. Well, Katie's Way was created to honor Katie. And it was mostly because we realized that after the fact that we weren't alone. When I was looking at the statistics and I saw that 81% of adults didn't even realize that teen dating violence was an issue. And me and my husband didn't even realize it had a name, that anybody acknowledged it as that. We just felt like we were being severely harassed and wanted to know, what can we do about it? And because there were so many unanswered questions, that we decided in Katie's name, we would honor her by helping others, because that was her nature. She was just a very helpful, loving, considerate person that would do anything to help others. What we do is we help other young people identify early on abuse in a relationship, because the earlier you identify it, the easier it is to get out.
I would say like the constant need to be with the person, but not in like a healthy way. The text messages and the calling, like no one needs that. There's other things in life than just that one person that you're with.
Always asking where you're going, villainizing your friends and your family.
Hitting, punching, getting shoved into things.
Putting them down, making them feel that they're the only person they need. And of course, there's so many things that could be red flags apart from that.
These are coercive, controlling behaviors, and there's not a whole lot of physicalness to these things. Things happen early on that maybe you could see it, but then sometimes we write them off.
There were so many things, even from early on when we were dating in high school, of him taking my phone and smashing it, or telling me who I couldn't be friends with and where I should go, or we were living together and it was our apartment, but I wasn't allowed to have a key. I remember the workshop that I sat in and was watching her present, and I actually almost had to get out and leave because I didn't want Bobby to notice that I was getting like emotionally upset. As she explained the cycle and talked about like the all good part goes away, I realized we hadn't had that all good part in years.
So she'd accept his apology. It would go back to it's all good. Do you think it stayed there? No. Because in an abusive relationship, this cycle spins around, gets to going so fast, you don't see the yellow anymore. All you see is red.
I don't want to stay in this relationship and either something happened to me because of him or because of myself, because of the emotions and the negative effect that it was taking on me. I had lost myself. And when I was watching her talk, I realized it's either him that's going to take my life or it's going to be me.
It's not talked about in schools or anything. Like in high school when I was there, it was never talked about. It was always just kind of, if it was something, it was like, oh, one in something people, and then it just move on to the next thing.
This kind of stuff isn't taken seriously when this happens. It's obviously a very painful story, and it's a story that people need to hear. It's something that people need to know about.
Raising awareness about domestic violence is so important because it affects us all. No matter what age, social economic background, whether you're married or single. And unfortunately, we see a lot of the traits of when there are perpetrators of domestic violence. Sometimes they happen in the first or second relationship in one's life, which is usually in the teenage adolescence age range. Our Teen Dating Violence Initiative stems out of our Governor's Youth Commission. We have a Teen Dating Violence Committee. So there you'll see everyone is under the age of 18. So you'll see peer-to-peer interaction when it comes to outreach and awareness on the topic of teen dating violence. And it's through the governor that we are given this platform to really not only give awareness to agencies and other nonprofits, but community members, people that may not have or realize what domestic violence is all through the work of our governor.
A healthy relationship really evolves around peace. And it's all about patience, empathy, acceptance, caring, and equality. Those, along with respect, love, and honesty, you have a very positive, loving, and caring relationship. And that's what it should be.
I think a healthy relationship is really when you two are like there to build each other up. It's not like one person is above the other person and they mean more, they are better than the other person. You guys are equal.
So, yeah, fathers, there you have it. You know, when you look at these videos and you listen to the young girls explain the relationships and how they got caught up, and you know, the mother of Katie, she was explaining how 81% of adults don't even know that their daughter is being abused or being taken advantage of. It's just crazy because those are the statistics. And, you know, a lot of people don't like to look at statistics because they think they can be manipulated. And what I will say is when you do your research and you come across statistics, you can't dismiss them. The numbers are the numbers. It's anecdotal evidence. It's anecdotal. You can't dismiss the numbers. You have to look at everything. In order to make an informed decision, fathers, we have to look at everything, right? So we just have to make sure that we are putting our daughters first, always, with their protection and their safety. And this is what I do here at Girl Dad YouTube channel, is I want to help fathers understand their sense of urgency for building long-term sustainable relationships, because we got to put in a lot of work, birth to 18. We do, dads. We got to put in a lot of work. And we're going to have a lot of good times, and we're going to have a lot of times that we just got to work through. And that's just what it is when you have a baby girl. None of it's easy, and it shouldn't be. So I want to encourage you, fathers, subscribe, like, and share my YouTube channel. Follow. And like I said, in the next few months, I'm going to be opening up my YouTube channel and doing a lot of other things. And I'm feeling good about it. I'm building capacity with my YouTube channel organically. And it's going extremely well as far as I'm concerned. And I welcome all fathers. And I just want to tell you, fathers, keep your heads up, hang in there, never give up on our baby girls or your children. Right? I get a lot of comments. Well, Ephraim, how come you don't dress little boys? I'm a girl dad. I don't have sons. I have nephews, but I don't have sons. I'm a girl dad. So I dress daughters. I dress girls. Yes, I will be talking about little boys from time to time, but my primary focus is fathers of daughters, little girls, girl dads, because I'm a girl dad. Okay. And for those that are out there that feel that little boys need to be addressed, feel free to do your own YouTube channel and address those issues, because this isn't easy. What I do is not easy. And it's very easy for a lot of people to say, well, Ephraim, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. And I've always said this: if you see there's a need, fill that need, fill that void yourself. Don't always rely upon everyone else to fill that void or be the example. I'm doing what I can do. I'm proud to be doing what I can do. And I'm excited on what I'm able to bring for fathers of daughters. Okay, fathers, thank you. This has been another live stream. I'm Ephraim B. Martin. And I'll holler at you next week. I'm out. Peace.